Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drewling Samantics with me and no one at the moment. Drew, where are you? Where is my podcasting partner in crime?
I'm here, mates.
And there he is. Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm very, very well. Sorry about that. I was just grabbing myself a beer, the necessary, as we say. Are you locked and loaded? Have you got one to hand?
I mean,
Oh, I'm so sorry to all our listeners, not viewers. Listeners, the reason I'm laughing is because Sam is holding in his hand what I can only describe as, it just looks like a blancmange in a glass. No, strawberry Nesquik. What? You're not drinking strawberry Nesquik, surely?
No, mate. Look. So I'll let you in on a secret. I am not in good shape at the moment. I'm not awful, but I am not particularly happy with my current look. And I've got some work coming up where I'd prefer to be in slightly better shape. Some modelling work where I want to be a bit more how I used to be pre-lockdown, I think is probably the way to describe it. I'm still rocking a post-lockdown body, laziness essentially.
Right.
So I'm trying to get myself back to somewhere I'm a bit happier, shall we say? So yes, so a bit more fitness stuff, a bit less of the fun juice, the alcoholic beverages. So yes,
right.
So today I'm afraid, although I am joining you in a drink, it is. Well, it's a protein shake. So, but
all right. I respect your needs, and cheers, buddy. Cheers. It's hysterical, but there we go.
Yeah. But anyway, enough of my my overeating and under exercising. How the devil are you, mate? It's lovely to see you.
And lovely to see you. I'm very well, thank you. I've had a good and interesting week. Had a little gig at the weekend, a Faulty Towers / St Trinian's gig that went very, very well.
Of course, you mentioned that. How was it in your high socks and your mini skirt?
I'm a shorts. It was good fun. It was a very interesting crowd of people, an older demographic, but and the lovely thing was that they all were not necessarily fans of Faulty Towers, but very, very aware. So it made a change to go in a room where everybody knew who you were.
Yeah.
And were either up for it or were like, well, come on then, what are you going to do, guys?
Oh, okay.
But it was a lot. And then of course, we turned it on its head by having Manuel as this foreign exchange student, Sybil as the headmaster's wife, and Basil in his kind of John Cleese / Faulty Towers headmaster.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Role. So it really worked very well. We had enormous fun. It was great fun. Very well appreciated. So yes, and I think we might try and do that theme again at some point. It was good fun.
Oh,
but that aside, I've had a not a red carpet moment this week, but I've been to. Do you remember? I talked quite a lot about it. I made a short film a little while ago called Illusions.
Yes.
Based around an aged magician and his assistant in a sort of post-apocalyptic world, quite apropos for the times. We had a little screening of that at the directors and producers' house for invited guests. But this week we had our premiere.
Oh, la-da.
I know. And for this, it was held at the Magic Circle, which they have a beautiful little theatre. I think it's about 160 seater.
Yeah.
In the Magic Circle building, obviously where performances take place, but they also host screenings and the like. And we had our screening of this. We had magicians in the audience and friends, and in fact, I mean, I'm sitting here telling you all about it when in fact I could introduce you to someone who knows far more about the evening than me.
Oh, really? I mean, it's not a guest week, mate. What?
Well, no, it's not strictly a guest. In fact, let me introduce you to, on site, at the screening, me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here I am outside the world-famous Magic Circle. I shall swing round. For those of you watching us on YouTube, you can see the blue doors behind me. Now, I'm here for the premiere of a film I did a few months ago, or quite a few months ago now, called Illusions, telling the story of a character I played, Oscar McGillicuddy, an aged and past it magician. So we are here to see the screening of that this evening. More to follow. So here we are, podcast buddies, inside the theatre, the Magic Circle. We're awaiting the screening. You can hear the music in the background. There is a little bit of hubbub behind. I'm going to swing round, so if you are watching on YouTube, and why wouldn't you be, you can see the crowd assembled behind us. It's very exciting to be at the home of British and nay worldwide magic for our very humble little film that is actually doing rather well. We've had some awards and mentions at sci-fi and magic festivals, film festivals around the world. So we're doing rather nice at the moment. So I will, I'll do a little bit more filming in a moment because we're actually sitting here waiting for the film to kick in as I speak. Hello there. We have just finished our screening of Illusions here at the wonderful Magic Circle Theatre, and we had a question and answer session with our director Howard Steen. A very good discussion on the themes, the motives, and the inclusion and the use of magic in the film. We've been given some awards and some nominations and awards at different film conventions and festivals, so we're looking for this to go even further. So I'm going to descend the stairs now and join. You can hear the hubbub in the the excitement of the theatre, the hubbub in the bar. I'm going to descend now and join my cast members and director for a quick drink. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll enjoy our little inclusions as I leave you now. I go down the stairs. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye bye bye. Amazing staircase. In the middle of the building.
Wow, mate, I have to say, what an honour it must have been to be able to visit the Magic Circle. I mean, let alone getting to see yourself on a big screen, which is always very rewarding and very exciting, and the fact that the film has been so successful so far. But to actually be there, the home of magic, what an experience.
It's quite odd because it's a very unassuming building. Just, you know, two blue doors and a couple of signs, and you and down a side street, and then you walk in and you're greeted by a concierge. This beautiful spiral staircase that goes right through the centre of the building, which is the staircase I commented on when I came down.
Yeah.
But then there are all little rooms and the place is full of show bills from, you know, great magicians from hundreds of years ago. And then we went into the bar where we were welcomed, and then there are guys sitting at tables just doing magic tricks. Now, I'm a great fan of magic. So just to walk into the bar where we were waiting for people to gather and just watch a guy doing card tricks, another guy doing close-up magic, and then go, okay, we're going to go to the screening. I go, I'm quite happy to sit. Don't worry, there'll be more guys doing magic later. So it really, you can tell people absolutely love their art, and they are, and lots of magicians watched the screening, which was lovely, and then commented afterwards. And we had a question and answer session. So people ask a question like, why did you have an actor play a magician and not a magician play a magician? Which I thought was which was, you know, a very good point. And the director was saying, we wanted to tell the story and not necessarily focus on the magic. So the little bit of magic that I did do, there's tiny little bits of sleight of hand, they went, yeah, it was great, looked lovely. So we understand that, you know. And then someone made a lovely point saying, well, acting is probably one of the greatest illusions because, you know, I've got to convince you this coin has gone from my left hand to my right hand, or I've cut the lady in half. But an actor has to make people believe that they are not that themselves,
Well, yeah.
they are somebody else, which is possibly the greatest illusion. So I thought, I'm going to have that. I'm having that. Thank you, that lovely magician back. But it was a lovely evening, and it's not many people get to go there, and it is by invitation. And we didn't get a chance, but there is a fascinating museum of magic, obviously, in the basement. So I'm hoping one of my magician friends will invite me back so I can go to the museum. But a great evening. It was really good fun.
So just out of interest, when you were filming, and forgive me if you've told me this before, did you have like consultant magicians on set to help with those moments where you were doing magic, or is it just stuff that you've been sent away to learn?
I was given a couple of things to learn, sort of to like this, and of course we did use a little bit of camera trickery because I'm not a trained magician. So there was a moment where we cut away and then cut back again very, very quickly. But interestingly, the director was an amateur magician. So he was able to show me how tricks were done and how to do these things. And then the camera, the cameraman helped me make it look better because I'm not. Right. So I did have a couple of weeks of like making it look fairly natural. But then there were lots of jump cuts in the film anyway. So to jump between tricks or to the end of tricks was not out of keeping with the kind of, style of the movie. Yeah. So, and it was commented on, as you said, it was commented on that the tricks look authentic and in keeping with the style of magician as well that he was.
Well, I guess, and you sort of touched on it, that actually the film is not about his ability to do magic. It's about the story. It's about how they got to where they are and stuff. So it was more little extras thrown in these moments of magic rather than something to be focused on, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the story is about this new state after whatever great calamity it is has taken place. The state then is creating illusions to fool the public into thinking they're living better lives than they are.
Oh, right.
So their world is an illusion. They are watched by Alexa-style boxes in their homes, and they improve their lives by being good citizens, earning credits to allow them to better their lives. And Oscar, the character I play, sees behind this, so he sees how the illusion is done, and so a magician seeing how a trick is done is how the film is framed, in that sense. It was that it's he said, I know how things are done. I'm trained in illusions. I know they're fooling us. And before he can before he can tell everybody how it's done, he is silenced. One way or another. But apparently I found out something on the night, which was even better before we move on, that there is to be an act 2.
Oh.
So it will move on from where the film ends. And it ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So it's the producer, writer and producer and director said, there's a part 2 coming up.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I didn't know about at the time. And I don't know when that's going to happen and how it'll happen and if we will be involved. But it's hinted that we will be. So there we go.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on what was obviously a successful evening. And fingers crossed that part 2 comes very soon. So.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. And talking of looking forward, can we look back now over your week, Sam? I know, dreadful. I can't do segues like you do. Sam.
No, well, you're trying to emulate my one and only skill, which lead me to it, please. No, so I mean, now, obviously, here at Drewling Samantics, we are good friends, and we love to have a chat, and we bounce off each other. And I would say that very rarely are we in competition, and I mean in no way what I'm about to say as a competition. This is not anything you can do, I can do better. However, I've had a busy week. I had a very entertaining end of the weekend last week.
Oh,
but in a similar way to you, rather than me sitting here and telling you about it, I can also go into the past and we can connect with past me to chat about exactly what I was up to. So I'm not going to drag it out. I'm just going to say we're going to hand over to past me now, who's going to talk about a little bit of modelling.
Good morning, Drewling Samantics listeners and viewers, and welcome to the beautiful Leicestershire. I'm currently in a little place just outside of a town called Burbage, and I'm at Parklands Farm, which is the home of Parklands Studio. Now, for long-time subscribers to Drewling Samantics, that may ring a bell, and that's because it is the farmlands owned and run by Mr. Joel Hicks, a long-time friend of Drewling Samantics. He was on the show a few months back where he talked about his career in acting and modelling. And I'm here today as part of a male model promotional event where there are 10 male models shooting all around the grounds. Anyone watching on YouTube will see the beautiful lake behind me. We're going to be doing some shooting at the lake. We're going to be in the studio, all around the woodland at the grounds. And hopefully what I'll be able to do now is jump to Joel himself to talk about why this event is happening, what it's specifically for, and why these people wanted to get involved. So here I am, joined by the amazing Mr. Joel Hicks, who is a familiar face to Drewling Samantics viewers. Joel, thank you so much, first of all, for having me here.
Pleasure.
What a stunning, stunning place. For anyone that hasn't seen your brilliant episode, please give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do.
Well, as I say, my name's Joel. I am a full-time actor and model, and a kind of jack of all trades, master of none. So we're sitting here outside a photographic studio, which is on the same land where I live. And I'm also involved in a number of awesome other sort of different projects. I run a charity. I sort of teach photography. I run photography clubs. I'm very active in many different spheres. And today we're holding a male model workshop around the grounds and in the studio, something that I've been wanting to try for quite a long time, and finally sort of managed to pull in a whole range of different males, and we've got about 10 photographers coming, and so it should be a really pleasant day and getting lots of great photos.
Yeah, so I'm hugely excited, and I know this has been in the works for quite some time. What was it really that kicked off you want to do an event like this?
The market for men in modelling, particularly in the freelance scene, and by that I mean where people are working with more hobbyist photographers, not necessarily for a commercial end. It's largely dominated by women, and men don't really get a crack at the whip, should we say. So I've wanted to put on something for a while just to try to showcase how the male form, the male face can be just absolutely wonderful to photograph, you know, and men say get a lot of criticism. Some people think that we are limited in what we do in terms of modeling, that it's, say, boring, or the quality of male models isn't very good, and I don't really think that's the case. I think when you look at male modeling, it's about shooting the male in the right context. And what do I mean by that? Well, I suppose you know, we had a conversation last night where, you know, if you have a female and she's maybe doing a lingerie shoot, she can pose all day doing lingerie work.
Yeah.
You have a male that's, say, doing an underwear shoot. Well, after about half an hour, he's done all the poses he could possibly do.
Yeah.
But maybe if you dress that male up as a Viking, give him an axe and a shield and cover him in blood, you know, you can shoot him all day and he will be in his element. Whereas if you gave that to a woman, most of the time they would be limited in that respect.
Yeah.
So it's all about sort of context, and I wanted to showcase what we can capture with men, you know, and it's taken quite a while to pull everybody in together because the industry is largely female dominated. There's not a lot of men out there, and to be quite frank, I guess there wasn't the interest in shooting men. And I've worked sort of quite hard over recent years. You know, I've been around the freelance scene for a long time. It's where I first started, and because there's not a lot of men, because they don't get much work and therefore they don't get to shoot very often, which means they don't get better at their craft. It's really like a vicious circle and very, very hard. And I just wanted to pull people together in a really friendly and fun environment, so everyone can, all the male models can meet one another, and they can mix and shoot with photographers that have a genuine interest in creativity. And so we've got more than 10 photographers coming today. We've got about 10 models, and we're going to shoot all over the property, in the studio, everywhere we can, doing multiple styles and sets, and just to see what we can create with some really, really good men who can express themselves in a creative way.
Amazing. So I know just how much you've got to organise and run today, so I will let you run on. Thank you so much for speaking to me.
Pleasure.
But yeah, here's to a fantastic day.
Fingers crossed.
Cheers. Hi everyone, Sam again. I am now back home, having had an amazing day at Parklands Studios and Parklands Farm. So we managed to basically tour the entire complex. We did some work in the studio, we did some work in the grounds, in the woodlands. We also went in some of the workshops, and we even ended up in the lake, which was quite an experience and not particularly warm, I have to say. Overall, it's been the most brilliant experience. The other male models were a joy to work with. We did some work together, we did some solo work, and it was really nice to be able to do a variety of things and to meet people who you wouldn't normally come across in the industry. It's not very often that I would work with another male model. It's just not something that happens that regularly. So it was really great to sort of finally meet in person people that I've seen a lot of their work before, or admired them, or just that I've spoken to virtually without having managed to meet them. So that was really, really great. It was also brilliant that we got the opportunity to work with so many different photographers on so many different styles. It was a really varied day, lots of locations, lots of ideas, lots of creativity, and some really, really top-notch photographers. I've already seen a couple of images, having only been back for a little while, and they're absolutely stunning. So I'm really excited to see what else is to come. Now, the biggest thanks go to Joel, obviously, for creating, organising and running the event. And the brilliant news is that he's planning to do this a bit more. So if you happen to be a photographer that wants to work with some male models, this could be the event for you. If you are in the Leicestershire area, or if you just want to travel and want to check out the amazing facilities at Parklands, then that's another reason to get in contact. And if you're a male model, or likewise, if you're a female model and would like to work at the studio, or if you're male and want to get involved in another male model event like this, it's definitely something to keep your eye out for. So obviously, Joel does make the odd appearance on Drewling Samantics, so we'll keep in contact with him and he'll keep us posted on when the next sort of stuff's going to happen. But for now, that's enough from me. I've had an amazing experience. I cannot wait for the next one. But I suppose I better hand back to the studio.
Mate, that sounds like a great, great day. I mean, it really does. Yeah. But what I mean, we have to thank Joel, because, I mean, he's a great bloke anyway. But what a great idea to open. I mean, I don't know, the industry as well, the modelling industry as well as yourself. But it does sound incredibly daring of him, and I can't think of the word, but encouraging to open the place up, to open his studio up, get the guys there, the models there, and the photographers, and making those connections. Because I hadn't realised until we spoke to him in the previous episode, and then how difficult and how rare it is for male models to work together, and get the exposure. So for him to do that is quite something. So
the thing is, as he said, he's been part of this industry for a long, long time. So he's seen it firsthand, and at no point are we trying to say, look, we're getting a really kind of bad side of this and it's awful and we're treated badly. It's just the nature of the business that for some reason a female model will get booked 10 times as much as a male. I mean, I haven't got exact figures, but certainly it could well be around that sort of number. And I guess maybe there's a slight misconception that that's because it's easier to shoot with a female, or what photographers and creatives are trying to produce makes more sense, or it's easier or works better when you're using a female model. But as Joel was saying, the versatility can work both ways, and there are certain things that everyone has a different purpose, or you can look for a certain niche or a certain angle, and use a male model perhaps in scenarios where you couldn't use a female model. So we're just hoping that perhaps it gives a little bit more, as you said, exposure, no pun intended,
No.
to male modeling. One guy is not a one-trick pony. They can do all sorts of different poses, and working solo, working together, and you can create all sorts of imagery and all sorts of stories based on one guy and what he's wearing and how he poses. So it was a really rewarding day, and I think certainly the photographers that joined us were very, very pleased with what they got to be part of.
I was about to ask, along with the models, what background were the photographers? Were they amateur hobbyists, as Joel commented on, or were they there for specific shots? You know, to learn and to train, as it were.
So a bit of everything, really. So
yeah.
Joel himself is also a photographer, so he spent a lot of time during the day taking some shots. Some of them are commercial photographers. It's what they do for a living. Some of them even run their own studios, but perhaps don't have the space or the facility to run something like this, so they wanted to be involved. But then on the other end of the spectrum, we did have some amateurs, some people who are learning. And I think there was an overwhelming feeling of, regardless of whether they were very much beginners or very experienced, a lot of these people do not shoot male models very often because there's just not enough opportunity. So I think that's why this was so popular. And it's very, very different working with a male model, because you will pose him differently to how you would pose a female model. So regardless of experience, I think a lot of them were quite keen to have the opportunity to practice and work on something that they do far less often than working with perhaps a female model. So it was a real kind of collaborative effort from everyone to go from low levels to the upper sort of professionalism levels, and just really inclusive, really, really rewarding. And
I mean, it's huge kudos to Joel. I mean, not only has he created this stuff, and he said he's been chipping away at this, and larger chips getting more and more successful as the years have gone by. But it would have been very easy because of the difficulty and the preconceptions of modeling and male modeling and that world. It would have been very easy for him to have gone, forget it, and just concentrate on something else. But he's not. He's stuck at it. He hasn't left that side of work and that side of the business. He's kept at it, and he's given other people opportunities where they might have given up to keep on working. I mean, it's going off the subject a little bit, or off the weekend a little bit. It's very easy to lose heart and give up when you aren't encouraged and the opportunities aren't there. I mean, I guess some of the photographers would also go, I want to do this, the opportunities are not there. You know, they could have dropped by the wayside as well. So to keep on working and being given those opportunities is so important to keep working. You know? Yeah,
I suppose it's one of the negative, if you want to put it that way, sides of our industry, that actually there isn't a huge amount of work to go around in all aspects. I mean, it's always a big competition. There are always X thousand people wanting to go for one role, or that you're always up against however many others when it comes to sort of audition level. But I think perhaps certainly within the male modeling world, it could be very easy for someone new to be quite discouraged and maybe give up quite easily, because it is such a battle to maintain. And obviously our listeners know that I do model fairly regularly, but it's certainly not my only outlet. And I know I probably wouldn't get by if I was only trying to do modeling work, because there is just not enough of it around, and it is something that is very much intermittent, and that can be quite disheartening, because at the end of the day you're selling yourself as a product, aren't you? So to not be wanted, or to not have that demand, perhaps could be interpreted as not being good, and that's not the case most of the time. I mean, I'm not going to be getting booked for the next Magic Mike show, that's for sure. I know that. Some of the guys I was working with, quite possibly, they are big, muscular guys. But that I don't take that to heart. That's how I look, and I don't fit that certain niche. In the same way that, you know, you're not going to be up for the next James Bond because you don't fit that kind of casting area.
No, I'll go for Blofeld. I'll be the next Blofeld. I'm very happy. But it is. I mean, you're saying. I mean, in essence, it is It's versatility, isn't it? It's being able to accept who you are, and not being just a jack of. Not saying Joel made that point, being jack of all trades, but actually, it's actually nowadays you have to be master of many.
Yes.
You do have to be, I mean, often people are referred to as triple, quadruple threats, and one does have to be able to and accept the fact that you are going to have to turn your hand to things. And I think that's may have cost people their not their careers, but maybe their careers in the past. That people not being willing to spread themselves and to take on different skills and aspects, but also like the male models, maybe they haven't been given the opportunities, or that's not there. I mean, it's very easy. I mean, we have seen during the period of the unwelcome guest, people have left the business because the opportunities aren't there, and there is less work. But I mean, that's always been the case in the business, hasn't it, in the industry? That, like you just said, there are too many people for too few jobs. And I suppose you have to be versatile, to be able to go, well, I can't do that, but I can do that. I'm not doing that. I'll try that. So, to keep one's creative drive and energy, it's very difficult. I mean, with great respect, you've not been kicking around as long as I have, but was there any time
taken whatsoever there, mate? Don't worry about that
one. But no, I mean, you're a good seasoned, talented professional. But was there any moment when you went to yourself, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I'm not going to do this? Have you ever got disheartened and gone, no, I can't do it? Or has that only spurred you on?
I don't know, mate. Do you know, it's a difficult one to answer, because I'd be lying if I didn't say that every time I don't get a job that I've auditioned for, or I don't get a response to a casting I've submitted, or I don't get an extended or renewed contract or something like that, obviously that's disappointing. I'm not going to say that I don't feel disappointed or I don't feel disheartened, because it's only human nature to feel like that. In the same way that we've said before, it doesn't matter how many times you've done a show or how confident you are in something, there's always a little bit of nerves, because we're passionate about what we do, and if we weren't nervous, it would possibly be a suggestion that you don't really care. So places. As far as I'm concerned, I'm always nervous. So I'm more nervous for certain things than others. Like an opening night obviously is more nervy than a run you've been doing for 2 or 3 weeks, but I still get those butterflies, like stood in the wings waiting to go out, because I love what I do and I want to do it well. So there's that passion and that drive behind it. And likewise, every audition I do, I go into it because I want that job. It's no different to your average Joe in the real world, so to speak, going out and doing a job interview. You're there because you want to get it. Very rarely are you doing something or auditioning for something that you don't want to do. There are odd occasions for certain reasons, of course, but I think the difficulty in our industry is you have to kind of take it in your stride and go, yes, I am disappointed, but I cannot let that get to me too much. I can think of a particular time I auditioned for a role that I dreamt of doing for years. Like, it was so I couldn't have wanted it more. Of everything I've ever auditioned for, this was the big one in my eyes. It wasn't even the most substantial thing, or wouldn't have led to sort of like fame or huge money necessarily, but it was something that I was so desperate to do, and I did not get it. And there were multiple rounds to this, like a movement round and a singing round, various other things, and I got through a few of them, but I didn't get this role, and it was heartbreaking. It really was, and that's partially because I built it up so much. I wanted it so badly that I felt worse when I didn't get it. But I guess the answer to your question is yes, I felt that way, but it hasn't stopped me. I felt really bad and I felt really upset, and it's been really difficult to kind of go, oh, I didn't get that. What am I doing wrong here? But it's never got to a stage in my relatively short career compared to you as the veteran where I've gone, no, enough's enough. I'm going to go and get a regular job, a 9 to 5 or whatever. I couldn't do it because I think as much as there are some positives to sort of like perhaps a regular wage and a routine, I wouldn't be doing something that I had a passion for. And I don't think it would. I don't think I'd feel happy. I don't think I'd be able to do it anymore. I thrive off the buzz of doing different things and the variety in the career that we do. So yes, I felt that negativity. I've been at points where I've gone, why do I do this, and questioned it. But the answer and the overwhelming feeling has always been, look at a moment where I was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing, or where I was successful. That makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you? As you say, you've been in this game considerably longer than I have. Have you had those moments?
I've had two kind of. I mean, I've had periods of unemployment. Who hasn't? And they've been tough. But I've always managed to get through those. I've always thought, well, you know, and I'll take another job. I'll work behind the bar. I'll do some gardening, painting, and decorating to earn the money to allow me to continue doing my job. You know, pay, and that's always been my job. I was once seduced by not necessarily.
We're going into a completely different kind of subject.
No,
here.
we're not. No. I was seduced by regular money and a bit of security. I'd lost a job that was my sort of. It was a long contract I could dip in and out of, and that kept me going for other performing work. It was a performing job, but circumstances changed, and I lost that very suddenly. I was working one day, and the next I wasn't, and I suddenly went, "Wow, where's my, how am I going to pay the bills, blah, blah, blah." And a very good friend of mine said, come and work for me. I run a restaurant, well, a sort of cafe bar. Come and work with me. It'll tide you over for a short time. They're lovely people. You'll be able to be you serving coffee and blah, blah, blah. Just tide you over. Yeah. And I thought, great. And I needed that. He was a great friend. We had enormous fun together. So I worked in his cafe restaurant, and I really enjoyed it because I was able to perform, and I had a captive audience, and everybody liked me, and I liked the people there. There was no objectionable customers. It was a cafe restaurant in an office block, serving not only that office complex but other people outside.
Yeah. So
I saw pretty much the same people every day, and I really liked it. And the money wasn't great, but it was good. It kept me going, and I got very comfortable. And people around me were sort of going, "Oh yeah, how's it going? Yeah, you got any other work, Drew?" And I was going, "No, I am looking," and I was looking, but maybe not hard enough. And my friend who was employing me went, "Leave." And I went, "What?" He said, "Drew, leave. You're getting too comfortable." And he knew how much I like my work, and you are good at this. He said, "But that's because you've got an audience, but that's not your audience. Your audience is elsewhere." And he did me a really big favor by nagging me all the time. "Have you got any work? Have you got, And I got a short period of work, and he said, "Look, if you've got nothing after it, come back. But it is only ever going to be temporary. Never make this permanent."
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much like feeling like I was giving up, but I was almost seduced out of the business. And I could see if I got low after that, or, you know, difficult times, I would go, no, don't get that feeling again. You know, whatever money you're earning in whatever circumstances, it is only because you are always going to be an actor. And I remember going home after we had this conversation going, yes, that, you know, so I've never felt like giving up. I felt low about the business. I felt its difficulties, but at the same time, I've gone, well, that is part of the business. Yeah. If you get over that, it's that thing of, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, it's like, if I don't leave the business, I'm only going to be better. I'm only going to understand that difficulty, and nothing is going to be as difficult again. And it hasn't been, you know. Yes, there are, like yourself, I've been for parts that I really, really wanted and didn't get, and have got very, very close. Yeah. And they've gone, you know, that thing that casting directors and people say, oh, they've gone another way with the character, or it was the chemistry between the two roles, and you think, yeah, okay, they don't want me, but I got that close, so I'll get that close again the next time I get the job, you know. And it's, if I'm that good to get that close, then I've got to continue, you know. I think so. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, there are so many. Sorry, I interrupted you there, but there are so many people out there that have given up recently that I hope come back in the business. We know it's a crowded business, but people have had to, because of the unwelcome guests, you know, give it up because of circumstances and paying the bills. But and there are other reasons. I mean, a mutual friend of my wife's and my Verona and myself, he was in a West End show, and he was in a big West End show, loved doing it. Yeah. And we went to see him, and he was fantastic. And he said, oh, my contract ends in a month's time. And we said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to be training to be a policeman. I'm going to join the police force and become a detective. He said, because I've done everything. He said, I wanted to work in the West End. I wanted to do a bit of television. He said, I've done it. So he said, but the idea of becoming a police detective really excites me. And he has subsequently done that and is enjoying his life. So incredible. Very, very, very many different ways of you know, for leaving the business. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the way I try and look at it is, as much as there is disappointment and there are those negative feelings when you don't land a job, or when you go through a period where you're not doing as much work as you'd like to, I don't think we can judge our industry on those moments. What I try and think is that if I'm out there doing a job, if I'm actually doing a job, and at that point I'm thinking, why the hell am I here? What am I doing? That's when I need to reassess and go, maybe this isn't right. Because you cannot judge something when you're not doing it. I
think I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I know it's not that straightforward, because obviously you need money to live, and if you're not working, you're not earning money. But if you are getting to a point where even when you're doing that job, it's not satisfying you, you're not feeling happy enough about it, then surely that's the bigger issue. And like I say, I still get up every morning and I love what I do. I love the variety. I love the thought that I could be doing something different, or going and remembering and going, oh, I'm doing that again today. I love doing that. Great. But I still get a thrill from my job. And while I can still make it work, I will continue to take those hits and deal with that negativity as best I can. And yeah, there will always still be moments where I feel devastated that I haven't had success, or I haven't achieved something I wanted to achieve. But that doesn't mean that round the corner isn't a successful moment.
If, you know, I'd kick myself, you know, if I did give up, because and something, you know, that role came along, and you think to yourself, well, you know, then I would be the one to blame. I don't want to be the one to blame, which is why, like yourself, I work hard at what I do. I try and keep on top of everything. You know, if I need to keep fit, I'll drink a protein shake. You're sipping away at your
glass of blancmange.
your pink monstrosity. But I mean, no, it's seriously, no. I keep going, and because, like you, I enjoy every single moment. But also, I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to, I don't want to, leave a business that still has a lot to offer me.
Yeah.
And I so yeah. There's always something around the corner.
You can only ever think onwards and upwards.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And just to rub salt in the wounds of your failed segue earlier, here's mine. Speaking of onwards, what have you got coming up?
I can almost feel that one coming, Sam, but I think I've got a busy-ish week. I've got a little bit of work with Verona and the Balloon Band, and some interactive dinner theatre coming up as well.
Nice.
So that variety that we were talking about. So yeah, quietly busy week, but I've got something coming up in the future which I'll tell you a little bit more about anon, shall we say. What about yourself? Excellent. Where are you going? What are you doing?
I too have some immersive dinner theatre, which I'm really looking forward to. Probably a little bit of voiceover stuff to get done.
Nice.
But mate, we've got a guest next week, so I'm going to be doing some prep for that as well.
Yeah. Yes, I should be writing a few questions for our fascinating guests. They have a lot to tell us about.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And having had the amazing Gemma last week, I think we're keeping the standard high with our upcoming guests. So
very high. Very high.
But anyway, mate, so I will raise my pink blancmange to you.
You've got through I'm impressed. There's only 3/4 of that glass is gone.
Well, I mean, if it's all I'm having at the moment, I'm going to have it.
Are you feeling fit and healthy and wealthy?
I'm feeling hungry, mate, but we won't go into that. Anyway, until next week. Everyone at home, thanks for joining. Drew, as always, pleasure, mate. See you soon.
Sam, pleasure. Take care. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing to our channel and you'll get notified every time a new video is released. Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app.
Please support us on other social media too. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe and we'll see you next time.